it's me, and I have just wanted to say I got up super early this morning, like before 2 a.m. Because I went to bed before dark last night. But anyway, I just wanted to say I got out this morning and I had the opportunity to see the moon still in the sky while the sun was rising, and it was just such an amazing, beautiful view. And I got out because I went to McDonald's, which I have not done in almost a year, and they had a BOGO deal in the app on the sausage egg McMuffins I love so much. So you ditch the bread if you want to, like I do, and then you get 2 fried eggs and 2 pieces of sausage for the price of 1 egg McMuffin, which was a really good deal. But they asked me if Luna wanted a pup cup. So this is new technology, new terminology that I'm not familiar with. Something that's apparently happened in the last few years since I've been out of commission. And I'm in my pajamas, and well, this is not fancy, it's early, 6 a.m., 6:30. Anyway, so a pup cup apparently is like what used to be a sundae, McDonald's sundae, but it's just whipped cream. And she was so excited. So I didn't want her to trash my car, but I'm gonna let her have it now. You want your pup cup, Luna? Miss Luna, pup cup. And she's behind me on her couch. And you want to have that now? So while she's enjoying her pup cup, say good morning, Luna. Oh, that's a yummy breakfast. I'm having sausage and eggs today. She's enjoying that. You want it? Here you go. So anyway, I just wanted to say good morning, and also I'm feeling surprisingly good. And I have a lot to say about that, but I'm actually pretty shocked and still a little bit skeptical, like that I haven't crashed yet. So the other day when I went live, it took me like 4 times to get it figured out and do it and have the conversation I wanted to have. But generally I have a limit, like any type of phone call, even just, 5 or 10 minutes really kind of wrecks me. But I generally have a 40-minute limit on my cognitive abilities. And the fact that I was just chatting away for a couple of hours was shocking. Like in hindsight afterwards, I thought, oh man, I'm going to crash hard. And I didn't. And then I've felt great ever since. In fact, I was chatting with a friend of mine yesterday, and we had just a fun chat for hours, just laughing and hanging out and having fun and brainstorming, and got me all inspired and motivated and fired up and stuff. Here, take that with you. Here, stick it on your nose. Here, take it. Let's see if there you go. Off with it. She could take it back to her own corner. Anyway, I just wanted to share that I'm feeling exceptionally well, which is not the norm. And this is something I want to talk about more, not right now because it's early and I'm dressed in all kinds of weird colors, pajama clothes, and such, but it's something I want to talk about more with you as I'm getting kind of back into the flow of my own life, getting well, working into recovery, is neural retraining. Because I have something that I like to term health PTSD. And what that is, anytime I do something, I know that the normal repercussion is going to be, this symptom, and it's just going to cycle down and go into this just whole thing that takes me out. And the expectation of that trains my brain to perform that, to live up to my expectation, right? And so it's kind of a heavy topic, and it's kind of thick because on the one hand, in a chronic condition type recovery, you definitely want to pace, you want to listen to your body, you want to, see what's working and what's not and things like that. But at the same time, I don't want to live sick in a way that my expectations become my truth. And that's been something that's been exceptionally hard for me to work with and work around, given I followed neuroscience like Joe Dispenza's original work, etc., going all the way back to the classic Napoleon Hill. And I've been following that for years. I mean, back when I ran the Self-Starters site, starting in the year 2000, I was sharing free, audio downloads of that book and stuff. So it's been a real challenge for me, the mindset part of being so sick and recovering, like the discouragement of, trying to think well, but still crashing. And so now really trying to retrain my brain after 3 years and 4 months, trying to retrain my brain not to expect that, but I'm still kind of in that hesitancy phase, that little bit of, I don't have any more, a little bit of cautious optimism, we'll call it. But the fact that I'm up and around at all is just miraculous and exciting, and I'm shocked about it. And as I'm kind of like working my way into building my confidence in myself and my health back up, to get back to consistently moving forward, living my life, getting back to work and all that kind of stuff, I want to talk about that more, because it's kind of, a basic human thing, the story going on in your mind, the things that we tell ourselves, the beliefs that we hold, whether they're true or not, or what have you. And this has been a huge lesson in that for me, and a hard one, like frustrating, discouraging, blah, blah, blah. But I'm feeling exceptionally encouraged and inspired and motivated lately. And I want to talk more about that topic specifically, like neural retraining, and it, like how it's like anything else. It's like creating the habit, right? And training your thoughts. Not so foo-foo, like, oh, if you think it, it'll happen, because I'm not magic. I'm not like a sorcerer. But basically just getting yourself in the mindset of moving forward and training your mindset to have positive expectations. And I think that can be exceptionally difficult when you're coming from a hard place, or you're in the middle of a tough thing, because life can be rude. It can throw some real kinks at you, right? Anyway, in your, it can throw some kinks in your plans, is what I mean. Anyway, so I'm just really excited about the possibilities and all the things. But there's that, I'm sitting in that space between where I'm feeling so okay. I'm doing so much better. Like I'm up and around, and I'm able to get things done and have conversations. I do sound a lot better in plain text because my speech is impaired. But the fact that I'm upbeat, I'm smiling, I'm able to, come on here and have a conversation or what have you, speaks volumes, considering I had nonstop appointments all week. I went in, for heart scans, extra medication to slow me way down. I didn't crash from the contrast or all the beta blockers they gave me. I had a lot of driving to do, appointments here, appointments there. And then in the middle of all that, I did 2 hours of live video. And then yesterday I hung out with a friend for 6 or 7 hours, all things I never could have done before. So I used to have to space things out if I even did one thing a week, such as, a live video chat or one appointment, or just one simple outing, like go to the river and sit on a rock for a bit just to get out of the house. One thing a week would keep me in bed for the rest of the next week until I was able to do one small thing again. And so this is huge, that I'm feeling up for multiple appointments, multiple conversations, that I'm able to show up, respond to comments on Facebook, read my emails, make to-do lists, and actually do things on those lists, both. And I know I used to be like hyper productive, and doing all this, boom, boom, boom. And everybody was like, do you ever sleep? And then I went from that to sleeping around the clock. I couldn't stay awake for more than 2 or 3 hours at a time, right? And so a lot of changes. If you've known me for years, I changed drastically, and now I'm kind of shifting back. But I'm, like I said, cautiously optimistic, and that's something that I want to talk to you more about in future posts, about how that caution can work against me. Like, you know, when you have full faith in something and your expectations are set really high, then generally things tend to go your way. And I'm kind of in that space lately where that keeps coming to mind. I mentioned it last week in my live video. Everything's going my way. I just feel like it's just things are lining up. It's synchronicity. It's like the universe is just making a path, right? And it's so beautiful. Just like this morning when I got out. I got up super early this morning and I got out, and it was that moment when I walked out, I guess when I backed the car out of the garage, but I got outside and I was standing there in the driveway, and the moon was, I didn't know whether to tell it good morning or good night. I said, good morning, moon, but realized it was probably it's nighttime for the moon is going to bed. I don't know. I got all confused about that. But then on the other side, when I turned around, the sun was rising at the same time. And it was just like, wow, what a moment. You know, to catch that moment in the morning and not miss it, because it's just like for a few seconds, you know, or a few minutes that you've got that whole thing going on. And minutes later, a cloud covered the moon and you could barely see it. And the sunrise got all kind of like lit up and stuff. So it wasn't as magnificent. Like it was that exact moment that I caught. And, but then, you know, like that, I feel like since I started thinking that, and I didn't make it up myself, it just kind of came into my mind. And now that I have cognitive issues, in case you didn't know, for the last few years, I feel like things that just pop up in my mind or, you know, or what have you are meaningful. And I don't just feel that way because I want to. It's like meaningful things are popping into my mind, right? And so I'm not brushing them aside like I normally would, you know, because I'm busy. It's because I'm so slowed down into living in just only this moment that when these things come into my mind, I actually hear them and ponder on them and like live in that moment with them. And so this thing kind of came to mind a while back, and it's like everything is going my way. And I realized that one day, and I've just repeated that, and it continues to happen. Right? So that's not magic. It's like our expectation. And then there's also kind of the concept of when you buy a purple car, which you never see purple cars anywhere. And then all of a sudden, when you buy one, you see purple cars everywhere, right? So we are in tune or tuned into the things in our environment. We're lined up with things subconsciously in a way, right? So that's just kind of what I want to talk about. And I'm rambling about it at the moment, but just to say that I'm excited about transitioning back into work and back into my life through this part of the, you know, recovery process. And a big part of that for me is going to be neural retraining, because I have an expectation. I have a fear. I will actually plan out my downtime. If I do one little thing like, oh, I want to talk to a friend on the phone, and I'll, you know, plan that out, knowing I'm going to be useless for 2 to 3 days afterwards, or have to go straight to sleep after. So I can have a great conversation over the phone, and I sound fine, and I sound good and happy, and everything's great, and people on the other end of the line think, wow, she's doing a lot better. And as soon as we get off the phone, I crash and I sleep for 3 straight hours. My body shuts down. You know, that's the part you don't see. And knowing that from experience that happens repeatedly over and over and over again, how do you retrain your brain not to expect that to happen? So it's a thing. You know, it's through the hardest part of my recovery, like I couldn't control any of it. And I am thinking more clearly now. My cognitive function is better now. And I feel like I'm getting to a point where I can really apply neural retraining or neuroscience to my recovery process. And I feel like that's a big piece of it, because there's 2 reasons. Number one, because it works. Like Joe Dispenza ain't wrong, right? Like he says, it's not magic. It's not a superpower. It's just the way things are meant to work. But number 2, what was the number 2? I forgot it. I forgot what I was even saying. We were talking about neuroscience and about the way that it works. But I feel like I'm in a better position now to kind of apply that, since I have a little bit more control over my thought process. I'm thinking more clearly, thinking straight. So it's still very difficult for me, and I still find myself shocked that I'm feeling so well. So I didn't even realize it. It was several of you who pointed it out, actually, the other day when I went live with Keith, and we were planned to go live a week before that, and I was wrecked. I can't remember. I had several appointments, and I ended up crashing so hard I couldn't speak. I was wrecked and in bed, and that kind of thing. So that was a typical crash, and I'm used to that, and I know how to plan for it, and I know how to do it. Like, I do not being well very well. I'm good at it. People ask me how you're doing, and I'm like, I'm not okay, but I'm doing great at not being okay. Anyway, the point that I wanted to make was, it was not me that realized it, but when I went live last week with Keith, which we had to delay and reschedule because I couldn't even do it the week before, and I was struggling a little bit, and I'm not 100% well, that's obvious, but it was several people that know me and have kind of watched me, get unwell and be unwell, and saw me again last week and mentioned they saw or seemed like I was doing better. And I thought on it, and I'm like, gosh, I am. And just like I mentioned in that video, we're not the best judge, especially those of us who have severe brain fog, which is not even the right word, or neurological issues or cognitive dysfunction, whatever you want to call it, not the best judge of how I'm doing. But it was someone, several people actually, that pointed it out. Several of you made comments and or messaged me privately, and I thought, wow, I am doing better. Like, I'm still up. I didn't crash after that. I didn't crash the next day or the day after that, and I still haven't crashed. And I'm still finding myself really shocked about that, and kind of in disbelief, or waiting for the hammer to fall, because sometimes it's a delayed reaction. So with this pacing thing, and with a lot of things that go with my condition, like I can have a delayed histamine response. So when I mentioned that I have to use a rescue inhaler if I eat tomatoes, it's not an immediate thing. With avocado, it's an immediate thing. With tomato, it's within 24 hours. About 20 hours later, after I eat tomato, boom, it hits me. I get bronchial inflammation. I'm searching for a rescue inhaler. So it's not an immediate response. The crashes are the same way. I went a year ago, 2 years ago, when I went on that trip to see my favorite band for New Year's. I did good on the trip. I did great on the trip, and I did good. The day I got back, I was still fine. The next day, I was still fine. And then I crashed. And I went live that day, and I was like, yeah, I'm crashed out now. And I had a full, Parkinson-style tremor. And I fully expected that. And I was down for, 7 weeks. Completely trashed for, 7 weeks. But it was so worth it, and I didn't care. And I said that. But it was that expectation, and planning for it is neural training. You're training your mind, you're training your brain to have this certain expectation, and it caters to you. You are in control of your body. Your brain controls your body. Your mind is your own, right? Your thoughts are your own. And not to get foo-foo about it, but like me, trying to be really practical about how do I apply this neural retraining in a situation where I have, well, I call it health PTSD. What's the other word? You would call it, it's not anxiety, because I don't feel any stress or anxiety about it. It's like habit, like you're just trained to know what to expect. So you got to get out of that pattern, right? So I'm not teaching you anything. I'm telling you what I'm struggling with. I'm telling you this is something I've always talked about in terms of how I apply it in business. And now I'm trying to apply it to my recovery. Getting over being shocked that I'm doing better, and to get over or stop expecting myself to crash, which could still happen at any moment. And so I'm living in that kind of foggy space in between where I think, wow, I'm getting better. I'm improving. A lot of things are improving. And it's not just that comment or those few messages. my vascular surgeon who I saw in January, I posted a picture back in January of my legs and feet, and they were purple patterned and swollen, and I had puffy ankles. Not a flattering picture to post, but I shared that picture back in January, and I actually crossed my screen again this morning for some weird reason, but it was kind of like the timing, right? And when I saw my vascular surgeon again this past week or the week before, actually, she said, wow, this swelling in your ankles is practically gone. You know, your edema is really cleared up. And I was like, yeah, actually, I hadn't noticed that, but it has. You're right. So it's been several people who have pointed out that I'm doing better in one way or another, or that, you know, and it hadn't really hit me. I hadn't really like processed it. Wow, I'm up and around more. I'm getting more done. I'm more present. I'm able to, you know, have conversations and then finish them. And so it's, and April just said, I firmly believe your video with Keith was delayed a week so I could catch you live. It's that synchronicity. Everything's just like lining up. Like I feel like the, kind of like when, was it Moses that parted the sea? I feel like that, like there's just been this like opening, right? And everything is flowing again. Whereas for over 3 years, I have felt completely stuck in a dark, heavy, stuck place. And now it just feels like something opened up and the light is just flowing, and it's in a really encouraging, positive way. So I want to talk about that more. We will talk about that more. Kind of just wanted to preface that. It's one of those mornings where I'm up and around and I'm looking around, and generally I'm up for 2 to 3 hours and then I'm down again. And I've been up for 6 hours and active and doing things and getting stuff done. You know, like I'm still just in a little bit of shock and disbelief state right now. And I've had these before. I've had these spells before. So this is what makes it really hard. I had these spells before. Like I had a really good response to medical Qigong, which is a alternative medical therapy, but it is medical therapy, not like the Qigong exercise. But I had an amazing response to that. We'll call that nothing short of miraculous. And didn't have a single symptom for 7 weeks. It was like I was back to my normal self. And then something happened, and under duress, all my symptoms just boom, hit me back all at once. What happened was a kid tried to rob me. And it just shocked me, startled me, and I went into a full tremor. I froze up, and my speech became impaired again, and it all just came full back, right? And I thought, wow, that's weird. How, you know, like, first of all, I was blown away my body could magically recover. And then I was blown away that it could magically go back, like nothing ever happened. I don't know. It's just, bodies are weird. This illness or condition that I have is bizarre in every way. It's just bizarre. But the thing, I'm in my pajamas, so I'm feeling a little shy. Anyway, so what was I trying to say? So I've had these episodes before for long periods of time, even where I've felt well, I felt better, and I thought, I'm cured, you know, like this is it. And then it surprised me when it all came back. So you can understand my hesitation. You can understand why neural retraining is going to be difficult for me. I have, over the last, it's been over 3 years, I've been trying to get well, right? But how do you stop living sick when it is just become your way of life and part of who you are, and all of your habits and everything you do is entwined in, you know, being unwell and managing that, managing your symptoms, managing your conditions, managing your downtime, managing your energy, like every single thing you can possibly think of, what I eat, when I eat it, blah, blah, blah. Everything, every aspect of my life is tied up in being unwell. And so I want to kind of do this publicly, whether you're unwell or not, it doesn't matter. Neural retraining is for everybody. It's for business. It's for faith. It's for confidence. It's for anxiety. It's for social situations, relationships. It's for everything. Let's say, for example, if you apply what I'm going through, which is a horrific health incident and super long, ridiculous recovery, but you apply that to you're having relationship issues. Let's say, for example, that you discover you're dating the same person over and over and over again. They just have a different name and different hair color, right? So that, for example, why am I attracting that type of person? Or why am I choosing that type of person? It could go either way, right? I always say to myself, I am the common denominator. In my life, I am the common denominator. In your life, you are the common denominator in everything. So it applies, like if you follow me, I may fail, but I'm going to keep trying, I'm going to keep applying it, right? But if we'll see what happens. I have no idea. It's not one of these things where I already know what to expect and I'm going to let you suffer through how long it takes to unfold or whatever. No. It's just that I want to be transparent about it, and there's two reasons why. For myself, I want to interact with you guys again. I want to show back up. I want to be back in conversation with you all. I miss you. And number two, I find that I'm not the best judge, once again, and that was extremely enlightening for me, that I was able to go live, number one, 'cause I've been wanting to kind of get back into showing up for a while now, but number two, that other people noticed it before I did, that I was doing better. And that I'm not the best judge. So I feel like it would be, kind of interesting to kind of go through it together. So April brought up the nervous system, and I can't see her whole comment right this second. I am trying to hurry because I'm going to eat those sausage and eggs I got. But I want to talk about that. So as it relates in my recovery, the nervous system with what I have is malfunctioning. So my autonomic nervous system is malfunctioning, and that means the sympathetic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is two parts. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which is not at all sympathetic to anything, and you have the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is yoga and rest and calm and peace. The sympathetic nervous system is, oh my God, a bear is chasing me out the door. Like it's like freaked out, okay? So this is your fight or flight syndrome, and this is your rest and digest syndrome. And when you're in this side, fight or flight syndrome, your digestion does not work properly at all. It's over here with the rest and digest. So everything's screwed up on this side. So what happens is they work together to protect you and to keep you healthy and safe, rested, fed, but also safe from danger. Like they work together, and they're meant to be like this. In my condition, they're like this. My sympathetic nervous system is overactive. It's overactivated. So it's gone crazy. So any little bit of stress, and it doesn't matter if it's eustress or distress. I don't know if you know the difference between the two. I can have a very happy, excited, fun day, like going to the water park, and that my body interprets that as just as much stress as having a knockdown, drag out argument. So the way your body responds to stress, increased heart rate, like all those things is the same regardless of whether it's so any kind of negativity, positivity, anything above normal, quiet, baseline day is generally tanks me and crashes me because of this problem. So I hope I explained that or described that well. But what I'm working on is two things: neural retraining, but also like what April brought up is nervous system retraining. So teaching my body, and this is the neural retraining, teaching my nervous system, I am safe. I'm okay. My doorbell ringing is not a bear coming to eat me, and like really kind of, giving my body that sense of security and safety, like we're okay. Yes, I hear you. You know, you can't ignore the symptoms. Oh my gosh, my leg is falling off. Like, that's real. You know, my ears are ringing so hard I can't hear myself. That is real. So not about like ignoring the symptoms or like, oh, I'm just going to pretend it all away. I mean, this is not Sesame Street. Let's get realistic, right? What I'm saying though is like retraining the body to respond in more appropriate ways after it's been sick for so long that it doesn't know any better. It doesn't, out of habit, my body is like on standby. There's a threat. And I want to have that conversation with my body, and that's the neural retraining part, which will also be nervous system retraining type part. Anyway, April said, I often wonder if what I'm experiencing with my nervous system is akin to what my son on the autism spectrum experiences. It's interesting you brought that up. That's a whole conversation in itself. We could go live and talk about that for hours, because my neurological issues were so extreme that I had auras, just like my son was epileptic when he was, you know, a young child. And it's been really, I developed extreme OCD with my neurological condition, tics, you know, sensory issues, a lot of things that neurodivergence and autistic people deal with. And so I have found their communities and their ways of dealing with things to be so helpful. And it's in fact one of the reasons I'm wearing this undershirt that keeps showing, and I know it looks inappropriate, but this undershirt is made of a specific material, and that would be specific like to something that someone on the spectrum would use. Like sensory issues are a thing, a big thing. And so, but yeah, the similarities are fascinating. I don't want to stay on too long because I have breakfast to eat and it's getting cold, but I was so excited to share with you that I'm awake. I'm here. I'm up. I'm excited about life. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I'm up, like, and able to have a conversation. Like words are flowing out of my mouth instead of like stuttering and falling and frustrating me and all of those kinds of things. You know what I mean? You've seen that with me before where I really kind of struggled through things or what have you. I feel the heat coming up. I'm flushing. That's harder to see on live, but can you see that? I feel the heat coming. I can feel the heat. So that's called flushing. That's an MCAS symptom. Anyway, I need to take my antihistamines. I have a H1, H2 combo, but I wanted to say hello. I wanted to say good morning. I wanted to say you were right. And thank you so much for pointing it out to me, because I was not even in a space of awareness that I am doing better. I'm doing better. Christine said you are looking and sounding great today. It's so good to see. I'm going to cry because it's words like that that make me realize I've improved. And that's why I kind of thought it would be fun. Like, even if I haven't brushed my hair yet, or I'm still in my pajamas, or, you know, whatever, just pop on live and just kind of when it hits me or when I'm working on it, talk about that. Because I think this neural training, like training ourselves to be or become the person that we want to be, applies to all of us. It applies to everything that we want to go right in our life, or everything that's always gone wrong in our life, and why. Ken Therio brought up such a good point on that on one of my posts, and I'll never be able to quote it or find it. But he was talking about like the things that drive him. Like, why am I so good at doing this all the time consistently? I do get up, I do this, I do that. I'm so good at that. You know, if I, didn't do that, the sky would fall, because that is what I do. But why am I so consistent at that and not consistent at this, right? So for example, with my physical therapy, like getting consistent about that, we'll use it as an example. I have stayed as active as I possibly can through this entire ordeal. But just to use it as an example, if I was struggling to do that or be active about that, asking myself why, like I do this consistently. So it's about habits, but it's really about getting neural training, like, getting into what matters the most and making it happen and becoming the person you really want to be, or living the life that you really want to live. For me, that involves just being well again, and as well as I can be. And lots of talk to be had on that, like what's permanent, what's fixable. I personally believe our bodies are self-healing machines. Anything is possible. I've been through things that are pretty miraculous before. So we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, I'm going to go eat my breakfast. I just wanted to say good morning, and I have not crashed yet. And thank you so much for being the one that made me aware of that I'm doing better. Because now I'm thinking, wow, I'm doing way better. And it's got me in this headspace of, wait, when am I going to crash next? And so I've got to work through all of that. But thanks for being there. Thanks for responding. Like your time, your attention, your response, conversation, and time are the two best gifts you can give to anyone. Never forget that. When you think, I can't help my friend just going through such a hard thing, and there's no way I can help her, there's nothing I can do for him. Yeah, just taking one moment or just having one conversation, it's those free things in life that mean the absolute most. So I will love you and leave you, as a friend of mine always says, and I hope you have a fabulous day with lots of things to smile about. And if you were lucky enough to catch the moon and the sun at the same time this morning when the sun was rising and the moon was setting, was that not absolutely gorgeous? All right, have a good rest of the day. I'm off. I have lots of things to do because I can. And I'm really excited about that. Like, don't tear up. I'm going to go eat my breakfast. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.